Here we go. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Catherine Snyder. And welcome to our Sunday morning online coffee and conversation. We're the Center for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley in Lafayette, Colorado. The Centers for Spiritual Living is an organization that teaches that each of us is a divine being, that what we say and what we think matters, and that you can change your life by changing what you think and what you feel. We start each one of these talks with a type of prayer that we call affirmative prayer. It's not about beseeching to a God that's outside, but it's about aligning ourselves with divinity, aligning ourselves with the truth of our own being, and with the truth of this whole creation. I invite each of you to lean into this, lean into your manifestation divine energy as I pray, into your own godness, however you relate to that. All right, so let's close our eyes and take a breath and bring our awareness to this divine presence. Bring our imagination to this divine presence, to knowing that it is everywhere, shining in this room, shining through our windows as sunlight, shining in our hearts as presence. This oneness of spirit and joins us as one with everything. And we can sing to it, feeling the goodness, feeling the blessing, and letting it well up within our hearts. And we know that each of us is divine. As we look into our group, know that the divine shines in each of our hearts. And know that these words that Lori speaks continues to help that grow, continues to inspire, continues to just encourage us as we align. It's with great gratitude that I know the blessing of spirit here, the blessing of spirit in this whole day. And I release this into that void that always says yes. And I say, and so it is. Okay, our speaker today is practitioner.
And so it is.
And so it is. Our speaker today is practitioner Lori Carlson of Morristown, New Jersey. I'm getting an echo. You guys hearing an echo? Okay, I'll keep going. Lori's a licensed practitioner with the Center for Spiritual Living in Morristown in New Jersey. She's been studying this teaching since 2016, became a licensed practitioner in 2022. After many years helping people with their physical bodies as a massage therapist, she now focuses on helping people with their mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. She's a published poet and uses poetry as part of her ministry, channeling spirit in a co-creative way. She's also very active in her recovery community. And with 10 years in the program, she aims to combine the science of mind teachings with recovery principles to better serve those in need of spiritual guidance and support. So thank you, Lori. Let me put the spotlight on you. Nope, don't know how. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me back today. I'm happy to be here. Happy Father's Day to you fathers out there. And I'm happy to be talking to you today about being unbounded and unstoppable. So that's the theme for the CSL, from the CSL organization, but it is a theme very close to my heart because I believe that being unstoppable is a choice and an attitude, and that true freedom lies in making the choice to adopt that attitude of being unstoppable and then trusting in your oneness with spirit to give you the power to demonstrate that. So how do we get to this place, right? How do I get to this place of recognizing my unbounded and unstoppable nature? Well, it all comes from a place of faith. Faith in our oneness with source, faith in our divine nature, faith in the law doing unto us as we believe, and believing in our good and in our inherent right to all our good. If we truly believed this and knew it deep down in our bones, what could possibly stand in our way, right? Ernest Holmes says that the universe cooperates with us to the degree that we are keeping a spiritual principle, and that all the only limits in life are the ones we set for ourselves. So, how do we set limits for ourselves? How do you set limits for yourself? What are your limiting beliefs, and how do they demonstrate in your experience? My minister always says, if you want to know what you really believe, take a look at your life, because you are creating your life based on what you believe about yourself. Like Catherine shared, and most of you know because I shared last time, I'm in recovery. And when I believed that I was an addict and would always be an addict, that's what I experienced. That was just demonstrated in my life because I didn't know there was any other way. And I didn't think there was any way for me to get out of that. But once I got clean and I came into this teaching, and I realized that the only thing that could possibly stop me is myself, that the only thing that stands in the way of my greatest expression of spirit are my own limiting beliefs and my own doubts and fears and my own judgments. That's where I came to realize that I could be unboundable in spirit. But I need to do the work. I need to realize that anything outside myself cannot stand in my way. But I have to do the work of self forgiveness. I have to do the work that lets go of regret and resentment and judgment and criticism of myself and of others, because what we put out there is what we receive, right? So it's an ongoing work, it's an ongoing process. It's not someplace you arrive. It's something, or for me, it's not someplace I arrive. It's something that I am continuously doing on a daily basis. Catherine had mentioned that I am a poet, and yesterday I just had a book launch for a new poem that was published, and I participated in a 12-hour poetry marathon where I did one poem every hour according to a prompt. Now, I never would have believed that any of that was possible when I used to believe that my own self judgment and self criticism kept me stuck in a place where I didn't think I was good enough to create. I didn't think that there was anything in me worthy of being said, worthy to say. I wanted to be a writer my whole life, but I never believed in myself. And once I came into this teaching and I really realized that it's not me speaking, that it's spirit speaking through me, then all things became possible, right? I could get out of my own way and just be a vessel of spirit, be a vessel for that infinite creative energy that exists everywhere in all of us and that we can access and tap into. So I am a big fan of Joel Goldsmith. And so Joel Goldsmith says in Practicing the Presence on page 63, for those of you who might want to look it up, all the discords and inharmonies of the world come from the personal sense of I, from the sense that I am the source, or I am the doer, or I am something or other. But I am nothing of myself. The Father is that which I am, and I am but the instrument for the Father, the lamp through which his light may shine. Ah, when I can really internalize that, I mean, here we are on Father's Day, and I'm talking about the Father. I know some of us don't like this language that harkens back to Christianity and to that, but it is just the essence of the creative source of spirit. So, but when I can really embody that, when I pray, when I treat, when I write, when I do poetry, when I do a talk like this, if I can just let go of my small ego self and allow spirit to just speak through me. I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't prepare. It doesn't mean that I don't sit down and do the actual poetry. But if I just have to get my ego and that Lori aspect out of the way and tune into that greater creative energy, because it doesn't come from me, it comes through me. And that's where we're unstoppable, right? That's where the true creative energy and power lies. And I am grateful that I have gotten to a place where I can do that. because when I am not attached to the script, then I know that the message that comes through is what needs to be heard. I just trust in this. I write a daily affirmation, and that's how I write my affirmation. It's based on my day, what I'm facing, but sometimes I don't know which way to go with it. And I always just open myself to receive and then trust that it's the right message for someone that day because I share it with a whole lot of people. But I have to tune in and listen to that channel. I have to tune in and listen for that creative energy because it is ever available to all of us, right? We believe in this teaching. There's only one mind, one creative source, and we all can access it, but we have to do the practices that align us with that and that turn us in to tune us in to that vibration of spirit. And so I know that when I do this, that I get to be that vessel, right? And the more I do this, the greater expression of love and of spirit that I can be in the world. I'm going to do another Joel Goldsmith quote because I love him. But so Joel Goldsmith says, that which a person continuously dwells upon, that which he embraces in his consciousness, is that with which he ultimately becomes one. And so what do you continuously dwell upon? I mean, are you continuously dwelling upon this oneness and this place of unstoppable energy that is spirit? Or are you continuously dwelling upon the circumstances and the conditions and the things in your life that are perhaps not going the way you want them to? When we turn towards that inner power, when we turn towards that oneness, when we, as the apostle Paul said, pray without ceasing, right? And we turn everything we do into a prayer by conscious intention, by allowing the sacredness of every moment to infiltrate even the simplest of things we do. Anything can be a prayer if you do it with conscious intention of spirit acting through you. And this is that place where we get to show up as vessels of spirit, where we get to tap in to that unstoppable power because spirit is ever present and spirit is operating through us. And when we really believe, as Jesus said, that the Father in me doeth the work, then what is there that can stand in our way? We know that power, that spirit is infinite, spirit is all powerful. And so what is there to stop us when we are truly living as an expression of that one? But what stops us for most of us is our disbelief. It is our doubts and our fears and the stories we tell ourselves that are separate from that create something other than this oneness. And we have to learn to let go or reframe those stories because we have a lot of stories going on in the background of our minds that we're not even aware of. For example, for me, when I was growing up, I was always told if you go outside with a wet head, you're going to catch a cold. And so every time I went outside with my hair wet, I would go to school, my hair wouldn't be totally dry, and I would come home and I would be sick because I was so convinced that, oh my God, my hair wasn't completely dry. I went out into the cold. Now I'm sick. And so that's what demonstrated for me. When I got older, I found out that a cold is caused by a virus, and that while a wet head may temporarily lower your immunity a little, it doesn't make you sick. I now go out in winter with a wet head. Like it doesn't bother me because I don't give it power. I don't believe in that. I know it's not the truth. And so, because my beliefs change, the conditions change, the circumstances change. I no longer demonstrate that in my life. But we spend a lot of time in our heads with those unconscious programming going around and around, right? What is it that is happening? Like my thing about the cold, what is it that you're replaying that you don't even, pay attention to? That's just sort of demonstrating in your life every day that you're not bringing conscious awareness to and that you're not shifting the perspective around because that is our choice and our attitude, and that's where we're unstoppable. When we choose to be aware, it always starts with awareness. You be aware of what we're thinking, be aware Oh, of what um of what is in our minds and what we are thinking about. And then, that pray without ceasing thing, and then bring our awareness back to that oneness, back to that place where we are unstoppable, and stop telling ourselves those old limiting stories. Stop believing them. Stop spending time there. Stop giving energy to them. And how do we do that? Well, this is another one of my favorite favorite things, which is Lao Tzu. Maybe some of you are familiar, but I'm going to read it because otherwise I'm going to kind of like bastardize it a little. So Lao Tzu said, "Watch your thoughts; they become your words. Watch your words; they become your actions. Watch your actions; they become your habits. Watch your habits; they become your character. Watch your character; it becomes your destiny." Well, if we want to have a destiny that's unstoppable and unboundable, then we need to take the small, daily, repetitive actions that will create that reality. We have to constantly come back into remembering the truth of our oneness with spirit. In AA, we have a saying that says we cultivate smart feet. And what that means is that we do over and over again the things that work. If I'm going to a meeting every day and it's keeping me sober, I'm not going to say, oh, now I'm sober, I'm going to stop going to the meeting. So, no, my smart feet just take me to that meeting every day because it works for me. And so we do what works, we pay attention to what works, and we just keep doing it. The small, repetitive, daily actions that create our habits, that create our character, those are the things that we need to pay attention to. And those are the things that bring us into that greater oneness, that greater unstoppable energy that is spirit. So whatever they are for you, for, prayers, meditations, affirmations, walking in nature, poetry, music, whatever it is for you that brings you into that feeling of that creative energy, internalizing your oneness with that infinite power, that's what's yours to do. Not just on Sundays, not just here now listening to me, but every day in every small way. So, you can choose to be a demonstration of spirit and to rely on that power in every little moment in your day when, the temptation is to dwell on the circumstance, the condition, or your separateness. But you can choose to take a breath, realign, and remember the infinite place of spirit that exists within us, that connection with that ever present and loving source where all power lies, and that is totally unstoppable. And like I said before, if I can get my small ego self out of the way, and if I can just tune into that power, then the way is made easy. There is a sense of grace. Everything sort of just flows, but I have to align myself with that. Another thing that I think is really important is to open our minds at the top. That's an expression from this teaching, right? So we open our minds at the top because we realize that we don't really understand. We can't get our little minds around the concept of an infinite power, of an unstoppable, omnipresent, omnipotent, omnipowerful presence, right? Which is spirit. That is something that is really difficult to get our little minds around. But if we are open at the top, if we do practices that constantly work to expand our consciousness, that constantly allow us into a place of better receptivity, where we can envision a greater good. When we treat, we say this or something better, right? Because
any size, please make a love offering on our website, cslbouldervalley.org/donate. I'm going to put that URL in the chat. There we go. And I'm going to stop the recording and we can begin conversation.